Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now you saw that pot of fish curry bubbling away in that first scene. I'm going to show you guys step by step how to put it together. We are going to be making some delicious snapper curry today, guys. Stay tuned, keep on watching, and I'm going to show you guys how quick and simple it is to put together a beautiful plate of curry and rice, just as you're seeing here. The first thing that I'm going to do is heat up some oil on a medium to medium high heat. I'm only filling up my heavy bottom pan about a quarter of the way up with oil. And while my oil is heating up, I'm going to work on the fish. So in my bowl, I have my snapper that I've cleaned really well. Clean it as per your own preferences, and I've cut it up into portions. We're going to season it now so this way we can go ahead and fry it before we put it into the curry. So on top of the fish, I'm going on with some salt, some black pepper, as well as some granulated garlic. During this stage, you can go ahead and add in some green seasoning, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just going very light and simple. I'm going to mix this up and I'm going to start to fry right away. Once my oil heated up, I went ahead and I added in a couple pieces of the fish. And basically you want to put the fish in there and let it fry on each side for just about 1 to 2 minutes or until it gets a nice golden brown color. Now some people, they do like to bread the fish with a little bit of dried all-purpose flour and then put it into the oil just so it gets a nice coating. But I wanted to show you guys a different way without coating it, so I'm just going to flash fry it like this. I fried all of my batches of fish and I have them resting on a plate lined with a paper towel, and I'm just going to leave them to the side while I prep the rest of my curry. Now for a really good fish curry, I always feel like you should have a little bit of mango in there and of course some green mango to give it that nice soury taste. So what I'm doing is I'm chopping up my green mango. You just want to chop it in half and then you're going to chop it into little segments. And you want to make sure that you get that seed out of the middle. The reason being is because obviously the seed is inedible and then you have to scrape it so this way you get any of that membrane out before it chokes somebody as they're eating. And then lastly, I'm going to peel it because I don't really want that skin in my curry. And just because I have them on hand, I'm going to be adding in some saijan into my fish curry. Now I have a saijan tree in my backyard. You might be able to find this fresh at an Indian or an Asian grocery store. And if you can't find it fresh, they also sell it in the can. They're called drumsticks. So all I'm doing is I cut it into little pieces and then I went ahead and I am taking off that fibrous membrane. And for the last set of prep work, I have some tomatoes that I've chopped up very roughly in a bowl to the side. I also have some onions that I sliced up, and into my mortar and pestle, I'm going to go in with some wiri peppers and a good amount of them so this way I could get a really nice kick. And of course, I'm going to go in with some fresh garlic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pound these really well until they are crushed and they are in a fine texture. Once you've ground up your wiri peppers and your garlic, you're going to start to make the curry paste. So in that bowl with the pepper and garlic mixture, I'm going in with my curry powder and I'm also going to go in with my masala. If you guys want to see how to make a really authentic and homemade Guyanese style masala, then I'll have my recipe linked in the description box down below. Now into those dried spices and the garlic and pepper, I'm going to add in a little bit of water just so I can make a nice thick paste so I can start cooking my curry. Now when you're making fish curry or anything that's very delicate and has the chance of falling apart, you want to make sure to use a nice large heavy bottom pot. So I pulled out my big karahi for this today and I'm filling it up with some oil just to cover the bottom, just a few tablespoons. And once it comes up to temperature, I'm going to go straight in with that curry paste. When you add in your curry paste, you should get that chunky or that sizzle and everything should be marrying together and cooking down really well. Once you add in that curry paste and you give it a nice little stir, you're going to go straight in with some salt. Remember, I always tell you guys adding salt into your curry paste mixture really makes the curry have a well-rounded taste and it will make for a well-balanced curry. Now I've been cooking my curry paste for about 6 minutes at this point, and as you guys can see, the oil has released back from the spice mixture. The curry mixture has darkened really well and it's starting to stick at the bottom just a little bit. So at this point, we're going to go in with some more aromatics, which is my sliced onions, and I'm also going to go in with some finely chopped scallions. If you don't have scallions on hand, then you can omit them, but if you have them on hand, I definitely recommend you put them in. So I'm just going to cook this up on a medium heat for about 2 more minutes, just until these veggies soften up a little bit. Now it's been about 2 minutes and my onions have softened up really well. So I had some green seasoning in the fridge and I wanted to go ahead and add in just a little bit. And the reason being is because it has a lot of cilantro in it, it has some more garlic, and it has some peppers in it. That's going to really add a nice freshness to my curry. If you don't have this, it is totally optional, but again, if you have it, add it in. Once you stir in that green seasoning, if you're using it, you're going to add in your mango that you chopped up, and you're also going to add in your saijan or your drumsticks, and you're going to add in those roughly chopped tomatoes. The reason why I want to add these things in now is because the fish takes so quick to cook that you really need the mango and the saijan to cook down first. So I'm going to let these bunjay or cook down with the spice mixture for just about 1 minute, and then I'll show you what to do. Now after bunjing or frying up that mango and the saijan and the tomatoes with that spice mixture, you're gonna go in with some water. We're gonna add the fish in once this gravy thickens up and the mango is done cooking. So that'll take about 10 minutes. Now this is what my curry mixture looks like after about 10 minutes of cooking. As you guys can see, the mangoes have cooked down really well. As I'm mashing down on it, they are mushy, and my saijan is there, it's cooked down a little bit, and the gravy is nice and thick. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking all of those pieces of fish that we had flash fried from before, and I'm adding them into the gravy. And then I'm going to cover it and let it steam for about 8 to 10 minutes, or basically until the fish is cooked through. So I let this mixture steam on a medium to medium low heat for about 10 minutes at this point. The fish is perfectly cooked, the mangoes are perfectly cooked, the gravy has thickened up. I went ahead and I gave it a taste for salt and everything tasted perfect, so it is time to serve this up. I'm going to be serving this on a hot bed of jasmine rice. If you wanted to serve this with sada roti or oil roti, feel free to do that as well. It's really, really delicious. If all of you lovely people enjoyed this video today, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and make sure you're clicking that bell notification icon so you're notified every time I post my newest videos. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye everyone.